Hey y'all, it's Keylonda. Here are your brushes for today's blending class. If you have not viewed the eyeshadow blending 101, please click the I card up at the top of the screen and view that video first and then move on to this next one, okay? That's like your prerequisite. So here are the brushes we'll be using. We've got some brushes that pack on the color and also some brushes that will sweep the colors and help us to blend and diffuse them. All right, let's get started. Today, a box of crayons, eyeshadow palette by the Crayon case, and some beautiful eyeshadows in this palette. What we're going for today, I wanted to explore a little bit of color with you all for the second video, and also the half cut crease look. Now, if you will see the difference between my naked eye, other than the brow and concealer, and this eye here, look how much larger my eyelid looks because I cut out just the very beginning, just a half cut crease. We're not winging it all the way out or anything, and it gives me much more lid space because otherwise it would stop right there, right along where my lashes are if I went with where the fold is in my eye. Instead, we're going to go a little bit higher, and it gives me the illusion of this popping eye that, you know, has lots of color on it. We're still doing that ombre effects, but we're just changing up the color and the technique a little bit. And the first brush we're going to take is the Morphe M330 brush, the one that's, you know, got long fluffy bristles, and we know from 101 that that means it's going to move product around. I've got this creamy concealer on my brow bone that I just want to mattify. So I'm going into the Crayon case palette. This is the shade Tan. They keep the names very simple in this palette. So we're going into Tan, and I'm basically using the side of the brush, and this is just to limit the amount of brushes we have. And I'm going right where that concealer starts. Remember how we talked about find that eyeball socket? I'm just gonna go right there, and I'm starting with the patting motion to put the product down to help us get this concealer into place, and then we'll move on to the rest of the eyeball. Okay, so I'm just patting that down using the side of the bristles, and once I've got a good bit of product patted down, now I'm going to start to just sweep back and forth, with the very tip of the brush, right, to blend that out. So it starts the powder on the eye because this is really creamy. Alright, so we're going in with one of our helpers now, our Milani eyeshadow primer. And I'm just taking a small amount. I mean, like, it's so small, y'all, because we don't need it up here because we've got concealer up there to help that eyeshadow stick. We just need it on the mobile lid and underneath here. So I'm just tapping that on, patting it with our finger, which is one of our tools. And that usually takes about 30 seconds to go ahead and just get, you know, activated and whatnot. Okay, so now that we've got that down, let's go back with our Morphe M330. We're going to go into the brown. So it's right above the tan in the palette, right above the tan. We're going into brown, and we're just going to move a little bit lower. So our tan was kind of like right up on that upper crease area. So we're going to go a little bit lower, kind of where the eyeball goes right into that socket. And I'm just putting some brown on the very tip of the brush and doing my sweeping motions. And we want to be sure that we come all the way in because we need that depth built up before we begin to do the cut crease in this inner portion. So we want some color there too, so that it gives us that nice blended look there that we're going for. And this definitely takes practice. Now that we've got the brown down, if it looks like it's just a little bit out of hand, you can always go back with some tan and go along the perimeter to help fuse those colors together with that sweeping motion that we use when we want to blend it out. Now this palette is really pigmented. Super excited about it because it was started by a Louisiana native, so you know I'm just like, whatever you do, you can't do no wrong, you know, with this palette. So that's our brown. Now we're gonna go, and remember we're just using the tip of this brush. It's very tapered like, so it kind of comes to that nice little point. So it's perfect for this. And shout out to Color by Connie who sent me this when I won the giveaway. You the real MVP. This brush is amazing. Thank you. So I've got a little bit of black on here. Now with the black, I'm going to start with that tapping. And remember, tapping means I want it to kind of stay there. So I'm tapping in the outer corner, and then I'm going to just sweep it in. Sweep it in. Because we don't want too much of this black. Because once you go black, black, black with the eyeshadow, it's hard to go back, okay? So we have to make sure we just build it up very lightly. And I'm going in, closer to the middle, closer to the inner, right? A little bit more on the brush. Starting the outer, closer to the middle. And we're going to start in the middle, get closer to the inner corner, back and forth. And don't worry about if it's not perfect down here, because that's where that eyeshadow base is going to help us. So work it on in, girl. And then remember, we go back to the color before that one if we need to blend it on now, girl. Sweep it around. This is the time to sweep and move it around. Now there are two blues in this palette. We're gonna take the one that's just blue, not the baby blue, but just the blue right here. I'm using the Real Technique base eyeshadow brush. Real Techniques base eyeshadow brush. These brushes are some other recommendations. I gave you some in the previous video. And these are some more recommendations because they have what you use it for up on the brush. Going into the blue, okay? And I'm just gonna start patting this shade here on the upper lid in that very outermost corner. And I don't know if you all noticed, but my face is not done because we're using very colorful, glittery, pigmented shadows, and I do not want to mess up my foundation. So when I do looks like this, I do my eyeshadow first and my complexion makeup last. It's totally up to you though. So we've got it on the upper lid up here, and now we want to sweep underneath the eye. And get a little blue down there. Use our Morphe brush, sweep around the perimeter, just like so, and stop. We're going to use that little detail accent brush from Real Technique. It's really small and it can get really flat, especially with the creamy product in it. And we're going to use our NYX eyeshadow base. Well, technically it says on the product Jumbo Eye Pencil, and it's number 604 in milk. Okay, so you can sharpen these, but I just prefer to go in and dig some out and put it on the back of my hand like so. Okay, so I'm going to take my brush, and you've seen me do this before if you've been watching for any amount of time, but I use the product in the brush to help make it even flatter. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we take a look at the eye, okay? I want to go above this thick fold in my eye right there. You see why? Because I'm creating that larger space. So I like to cut my crease with my eye open. And I especially did that when I, started out. So I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm going up and around that lid, okay? And you can blend some out onto the lid because this product definitely has to be blended out, okay? And it's going to help those lighter colors really show up. So just trace it, take your time, make small little strokes, and make a, I guess like a C, a curve, a quarter of a circle. What shape would that be? An arch? And if you need more, go grab a little bit more. Help keeping to make sure your brush is nice and flat, right? And take those small little strokes until you get it cut out. And remember, we like to go a little bit past where we want it to actually stop to. Okay. And if your hand is not steady, rest your arm on something, on your desk, on your vanity table, so you can get a nice steady arm going, okay? And then you can compare and see if you like the shape and if they're as even as possible. I want to add a little bit more width here. Taking my time. And remember, blend some of this onto the eyelid as well, because this base will help our colors to pop. And we also want to blend it because that'll help reduce the creasing. And all that is that when your eyes opening and closing, your eyeshadow can kind of be pushed out of the crevices. We're going to go in with the shading brush from Real Techniques. The first color I'm going to go into is the white. And if you remember from last time, we talked about using the e.l.f. Makeup Lock and Seal. But you can also take a baby wipe or a makeup wipe and run your brush through it to moisten it as well. And that's what I'm using today. So I'm going into the white. And this is going to be the most inner portion. Okay. Oh, you know what? Whilst I'm at it, let's take this extra little base and go down here. All right. So that way we'll have a little base down there to ombre the color out down there. So be really careful to stay where you put the base only, where you put that jumbo pencil only. Okay, so that's the white. I'm taking the same side and going into silver right here. And on our lid, we have all shimmery eyeshadows. They have that glittery look to them. Very shimmery. And in our crease are all matte. Remember, you can do matte on your lid. I wouldn't recommend doing shimmery in the crease though. Going to the baby blue that I was trying to rush and go into. I'm going to flip to the other side of the brush for the baby blue. And you can always re-moisten your brush if you need to. And remember, when we're going across the lid, we're overlapping these colors so that they transition into each other. Okay. And the only reason I keep these kind of brushes around and I keep them clean, sometimes I use them to cut my crease, but when I keep them around clean with no product on them, is because sometimes you can have an instance where you need to just clean up that shimmer and make sure it's not, you know, getting into your mat. And you can just use that clean brush to sweep along and get those little shimmers out of the way. Okay, you can also use this, like if I wanted to go back into the black and come along here and cut this even more neat and tighter, then I could do that as well. And then just kind of flick it outward to help it to blend. This is a nice little technique that I learned from Tina, the Fancy Face, here on YouTube. We're going to use our wet wipe, clean our hands, and clean off this eyeshadow that may have fallen out down here. And we can always use our Morphe brush just to blend out the bottom around the shimmery shades there. I'm going to clean off my my shading brush. I'm going to take a tiny bit of the white shade and just tap that here. You can also use your pinky finger for this and blend it out just so we have a little shimmer underneath there. I like the way that looks. All right, next step is mascara and a little bit of liner, and you can also add lashes if you want. Okay, I just did this with the liner and mascara. I like it. I like it. Blend this out. Now, if you enjoyed learning this semi-cut crease or half-cut crease, whatever you want to call it, please give this video a thumbs up. Comment below, please, guys. Let me know what techniques that are out there that you would like to see a video for, and I will try my best to do them. I was thinking next to show you all just how to add some glitter, so let me know if you want to do a glitter look, and we can definitely get that done. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, sugars.